Let's begin with the latest Newspoll and what this means for Labor and for the Voice. And first of all, on the Indigenous Voice to Parliament, this is now the task ahead of Labor. Yes, this is national, so it's not going into the state breakdown there. But yes at 36, no at 56, undecided at 8%. In other words, even if all the undecided go to the yes side, well behind no right now. And the problem for the yes side is this is no rogue poll. This is Newspoll. Others have similar numbers, and it's also the trend that's going to be the big worry. Let's have a look at how the Voice has played out in terms of the peak of popularity. February was at 56. It was even higher in previous months, but that was before we knew the question. So at that peak of 56, we saw things steadily going down. And from this poll right here, this is only August, so this is only 2 or 3 weeks ago, 38, now down another to 36. You can see that's a very steady drop-off, in particular since May, and no sign of that changing at the moment. So at the moment, the Voice, you'd have to say on any of these opinion polls, would be no chance to succeed. Something would have to be very wrong out there in polling land. What about the way this has dropped off then versus the coalition drop-off? How precipitous is this drop-off for the Voice? 53-47 is where we start things here. This was Scott Morrison riding high during the peak of the pandemic. Things were not going as well. We had the vaccine rollout issues and so on. And this is the point at which things got levelled, June 2021. You can see the drop-off for Scott Morrison. Well, that was pretty precipitous too, from 53 to 44. That's not as dire as the Voice drop-off, but this is a pretty bad effort in terms of two-party preferred. It does show that when we think about Scott Morrison and how unpopular he became, he did get things back to 47-53 on election eve, that when we talk about Scott Morrison's unpopularity, the Voice referendum, well, its drop-off has been much starker even than the coalition's two-party preferred. So if you thought Scott Morrison was unpopular, that's how the Voice is tracking at the moment. What about versus Labor's primary? Not as bad the news here for the Labor Party. So in that Feb area there, 56, this is the Voice proposal at that point and support. 38 is Labor's primary. You can see Labor's primary is not really changing all that much. There would have been perhaps a bit of a concern when it dropped off 2 points there at 36 when the Voice is 31, because if it drops much lower, well, you get the sort of territory where Labor might struggle to get a majority. But since then, 35 and back up to 36. So even though the Voice has dropped off here 2 points, Labor's actually bumped up one of its primary. In other words, Labor's lost a bit of skin over this time. We'll see if that gets worse in the sort of entrails, sifting through entrails, assuming the Voice referendum is lost. But for now, that primary vote of Labor's is a little bit of a concern, but they're not talking about losing a lot of skin from the Voice, at least for now. But that is one we will keep an eye on as well, because this is also going to be a big talking point for Anthony Albanese going forward.